Greetings, my esteemed subscribers. Today I want to share my thoughts on social media because social media has become so ingrained into modern life, and almost all of us use social media in some form or another. If you're watching this video on YouTube, for example, you are using social media. So I want to discuss this and kind of explore with you the pluses and the minuses of social media and how you can use it in a way that is beneficial to you, and also to avoid the negative uses of social media as well, because there are a lot of negative effects of social media, which I will discuss later on in the video. So it's a comprehensive topic, so I have my notes in front of me, but let's begin. So first I want to talk about how around 2 decades ago, there was pretty much no social media. People did not use social media. It wasn't a big thing. And I think life then was more present for a lot of people. Instead of scrolling through social media and stalking other people and seeing what they're up to, you actually caught up with your friends. You spent time in real life with your friends, which is healthy and it's good for you mentally and emotionally. And I think this has been something that has been less common in our day and age, when people would rather stay at home and consume their endless amount of distractions, and social media is a big distraction for a lot of people, rather than actually going outside, meeting new people, talking with new people, or just meeting up with friends and hanging out with friends, which is important for our mental health because we are social creatures. So I think that 20 years ago, if you think about it, people had more face-to-face interactions, and people also didn't worry so much about what others were doing because they weren't consuming so much social media, and there wasn't this mental health problem of comparing yourself to others. And I think that it was a time when people allowed themselves to really enjoy the moment and embrace each other's company. And when you think about it nowadays, even when we do socialize with others in real life, a lot of people look at their phones a lot of the times during the interaction and during the time they spend with their friends or family or whatever. And it's distracting. They're not fully present, and it prevents you from really enjoying the moment. So I think if you look at how it was 20 years ago, I think for a lot of people, it was a healthier lifestyle because you were spending more time in person with other people. But now social media, whether you like it or not, has become ingrained into modern life, and it's become so prominent for a lot of people. And when you think about it, the average person spends multiple hours a day consuming content on social media. Twitter, for example, had been used to broadcast announcements from the President of the United States. Not the current president, but the previous president. And social media has also become an essential marketing tool for a lot of businesses and entrepreneurs. And there are also a lot of people who rely on social media for their income, such as influencers and creators. So nowadays, even movements, cults, trends, conspiracy theories, and political mobilizations are spread through social media. So we know that social media today has become a big part of modern life. And when we think about it, we should really look at both the positives and the negatives of social media. And I want to start off with the negatives because it's something that has affected a lot of people, and it's something we should discuss first before we go on to the negatives and before we go on to the positives, and see how you can use social media in a way that is actually helpful and beneficial for you. So for the negatives of social media, I think the first one that comes to mind for me is that it has weakened people's attention spans and ability to concentrate. And this is because social media companies design their apps to be as addictive as they can. That is how they make money, by getting people onto the app so they can monetize the apps with advertisements and sponsors, and also the more time you spend, the more data they can collect on you, and that they can sell to third parties and make money. So they have an incentive to get you onto the app as much as possible. So what they do is they bombard you with notifications throughout the day, so you keep checking the app over and over again throughout the day. And that's very distracting and prevents you from having a longer attention span and prevents you from concentrating, which is essential to doing great work and also fully enjoying an experience. Another way is that they really design the apps to be as addictive as possible. They will design the app so that they provide content that's attention grabbing for you. They look at what you consumed before and see what you like, and they bombard you with that material because they know you like that stuff. So they keep giving you the stuff you really enjoy, and that catches your attention. So that's addictive. So it's an addictive cycle, and it limits your attention span and ability to concentrate, especially with the notifications throughout the day. Number 2 negative of social media is that it has reduced both the quantity and quality of social interactions. So I touched upon this briefly before, but when you can see what your friends are up to or what other people are up to through social media, through scrolling, through social media feeds, there isn't a reason why you need to catch up with an old friend over drinks or dinner or through hanging out in whatever activity. There's no reason to do that because you know what's happening in their life through social media. And back then, about 20 years ago, before social media really became big, people didn't have much to do with their free time except spending time with friends and family and hanging out. And I know there was TV back then. There was also a cruder form of video games, not as advanced as today. And there were other distractions as well, but compared to today, it wasn't nearly as addictive and distracting as it was 20 years ago. Yes, you can have a TV, but eventually you might get bored and you want to hang out with friends. And today, there's a plethora of social media options. If you get bored with Instagram, you can go on Facebook. If you get bored with Facebook, you can go to Twitter. When you get bored with Twitter, you can go to TikTok. When you get bored with TikTok, you can go to YouTube. And there's so many options that you never get bored, and you can always go back to another social media platform. So you people get distracted, and instead of hanging out with friends, they have so many distractions on their phone instead. So what ends up happening is they spend more time at home and they spend less time socializing, which is bad for mental health, and it reduces the quantity of social interactions. And another thing is it also reduces the quality of social interactions. So I talked about this briefly before, but today when a lot of people interact with each other in real life, instead of being fully present in the moment, they would look down at their phone every now and then. They would get distracted by a notification. They won't be fully present because their phone is always bombarding them with attention-grabbing notifications. And the third negative effect of social media that I want to talk about is that it is often used as a form of procrastination and a time killer. So before I get into the positive uses of social media, which there are, I think that nevertheless, the majority of content on social media does not add value to your life whatsoever. A lot of content on social media is just time-wasting content. It doesn't educate you, it doesn't motivate you, it doesn't inspire you. And a lot of content on social media is also toxic. There is a lot of content that promotes bad behavior, like trash talking and insulting other people and misbehaving and being lazy. There's also a lot of content that promotes drug use and just a lot of toxic bad behaviors which are better not to be seen because it will influence you to think these things are actually normal when they are not. And you don't want them to make you subconsciously think that trash talking is normal, drug use is normal, or whatever bad toxic behaviors are normal, because that can influence you subconsciously to think this is okay when it's actually not. And I talked about it in another video, but what you feed your mind is very important. When you think about it, we know that what we feed our stomachs, what we eat, is very important to our health, and it directly affects our health. And I think that analogy applies to our minds. What we feed our minds directly influences what we think, how we feel, and how we behave. So you should watch what you feed your mind. But anyway, those are the negatives of social media I want to discuss, and there are others, but I do not want to dwell too much on the negatives. So let's talk about the positives of social media. So although a lot of content on social media doesn't add a lot of value to your life, and a lot are just time wasting, and some others are toxic, there are a lot of content that is actually helpful. So the first positive of social media is that it can give you valuable information. On social media, especially on platforms such as YouTube, there is a lot of educational content that can help you learn useful things and help you learn things to better yourself or to better your career or anything really. And I think educational content is one positive of social media, because now people can really access a lot of content from creators all around the world because of social media. And you can learn a lot of valuable information from this. Whether you are, let's say, an entrepreneur and you want to learn more about business, then social media can teach you valuable information, which is why you should subscribe to this channel, because I talk about business, money, and self-improvement. So if you want to learn more, then subscribe. And you can also, for example, if you want to be a cook, you could consume content on cooking and recipes, and you'll be a better cook. So there are a lot of educational content on social media, and I think that's a positive. Number two positive use of social media is that it can motivate and energize you. There's a lot of motivational content on social media, such as motivational videos, motivational music. There's a lot of music videos that really pump you up and get you motivated. And I think there's a lot of these on social media. And a third positive of social media is that it can inspire you. And a lot of inspirational content can be entertaining as well. I think that useful content does not have to be all serious in nature. And when you think about it, a lot of the ideas we get is actually from more entertaining content, more fictional content, for example. Like when we think of new styles and new fashion trends, a lot of it comes from what we see on Instagram, for example, which isn't necessarily educational or motivational, but it can inspire you with a new style that you might want to try out. Or if you're an artist and you look at more artistic content, then that's also inspiring for a lot of people, even though it's not educational or motivational. So I think inspiring content is another way that you can benefit from social media. And I think a lot of content can also stimulate your mind, make you more imaginative, make you more inventive, more innovative, whether that's through short films on YouTube or people's vlogs showing you an inspiring story, or so many other sources of inspiration. And moving on, the number 4 positive use of social media is that it can be a useful networking tool. So always remember that social media is called social for a reason. There's a lot of people on it, and in fact almost all of us use it, especially in the younger age groups. So with social media you can really reach out to a lot of people, whether for business reasons or personal reasons. For example, you can use LinkedIn to connect with people that would be great connections for your career. And the reason why social media is so great is that, in this respect, is that people put their information online, so you can actually find other people with similar backgrounds or similar interests or similar goals, and you can connect with them and make good connections. And I think a lot of people can use social media as a networking tool, and that's a great way of using social media. And you can also find people with similar hobbies. Whether you're interested in a particular hobby, then social media allows you to connect with those people, because people will put out information that show that they are interested in these kinds of hobbies. And for example, on Facebook groups, there are groups for different hobbies, and you can join those groups and connect with other people. So speaking of which, the number 5 positive use of social media is that it provides opportunities to find or form communities of like-minded people. So like I was saying, there's a lot of group features on social media. So for Facebook groups, there are groups dedicated to different interests. There are also groups dedicated to professional interests like entrepreneurship, engineering, etc. And you can join these communities of like-minded people. And I think this is a great thing because you can connect with people who can help you in your career or help you further your passions and interests, and you can connect and make friends as well. Also, if there isn't a community that you are interested in, then social media allows you to form and build those communities and create a new community. For example, if you're into, let's say, martial arts and you can't find a Facebook group for martial arts, you can create one and attract people who are interested in that. So if you use for social media, you can either join new communities or you can build new communities, which I think is great. Which goes to my number 6 positive use of social media, which is you can make friends from it. So with all this networking and community building, you can make new friends on social media. Now, I'm not a big fan of friendships that only take place online, but I think that with social media, you can also find a lot of people who live in your area or are in your area at the time, and you can connect with these people and form a real life friendship. The number 7 positive use of social media, and one I think is very neglected by a lot of people, is that you can make money from it. So with social media, if you create content, there are a lot of platforms that pay you directly. And the beautiful thing about it is that it doesn't require a lot of monetary investment. For example, if you make YouTube videos, sure, you need a camera and you need some audio equipment, but most people have those things. And if you're making content on Instagram or TikTok, you just need your phones, and most people already have it. So it doesn't require a lot of monetary investment. And once you make content, you can potentially make money from it. And with platforms like YouTube, Medium, and TikTok, they pay you directly for building a big audience and attracting a lot of views, because some platforms pay you because you generate a lot of ad revenue and they share ad revenue with you, such as YouTube. Other platforms like Medium pay you because you're attracting more members to Medium, and with Medium there are membership fees. So Medium pays writers based on how many members read and clap their articles. One way to make money from social media is to get paid directly from these platforms. Another way is to get paid by sponsors and affiliate marketers, or marketers in general. And this, I think, Instagram is a good example. So if you have a popular Instagram page and people want to advertise their products, they will look for influencers like you, and they'll say post a picture with our product and you get paid for it. And you can also make money from affiliate marketing, which is basically helping people sell their products. So for example, there are affiliate marketing platforms where they provide links for each product, and you can use that link and post it on your social media posts, and whenever someone buys a product from your link, you make money. So basically you make a commission off of helping people sell their products. The number 8 positive use of social media is that you can use it to build a personal brand. Now, in this day and age, there is so much information on a lot of people online, and people do research on other people online. And if you are interested in, for example, your career, then you can build a personal brand. Mostly, I think, through LinkedIn, you can build a personal brand with that, but also with other platforms, with YouTube, Instagram, whatever. You can really show your professional interests, and people can get acquainted with you without actually meeting you in real life, and that builds a personal brand for you. And if you are a entrepreneur or business owner, you can build a personal brand for yourself, make content, put out content, get more publicity, and that helps you get more clients and more customers, which is related to the number 9 positive use of social media, which is that you can use it as a marketing tool for your business, product, or services. So as I talked about earlier, you can make money directly from social media, from getting paid directly by platforms or getting paid directly by marketers to promote their goods and services. But another way you can make money from social media is use your social media to market your business or your products or your services. So if you're an entrepreneur, then you can use social media to gain more publicity and market whatever you're selling. And that's going to get you more customers and more clients. And moving on, the number 10 positive use of social media is that you can use it to make a change. So I talked about this briefly before, but social media nowadays is used for so many important things. It's being used to broadcast presidential announcements, or it was used to broadcast presidential announcements. It's used for a lot of social and political movements, cultural trends, and a lot of people use it to spread new ideas. And a lot of politicians and leaders also rely on social media to reach regular people. So with social media, you really have a tool that can make an impact on the world. And that's a reason why so many politicians use social media to advance their political agenda. And you can use it too to affect whatever change that you are passionate about and communicate to the world to make a change. The number 11 positive use of social media, and the last one I'll talk about, is that it can be a creative outlet. So last but not least, social media allows you to share your creative output to the world. And I think that's a positive use of social media if you are using it as a creative and really showing the world your creativity, your work, your passions, and exploring what you can create. The one thing I want to address before I move on is that a lot of people think that social media is great because it allows you to keep in contact with a lot of friends. And that is sort of true, but I did not list this as a positive because I think when it comes to friendships, quality is more important than quantity. And although social media does allow you to keep in touch with a lot of friends, for the most part, most of this is just scrolling through people's social media feeds, scrolling through your own news feed, maybe liking other people's pictures or posts, exchanging comments every now and then, which is not very engaging. It's not a very engaging way to maintain friendships. And before social media, we did not do these actions to maintain friendships. We actually hung out with each other in real life, spent time in real life with each other. Or if you're long distance, then you can make phone calls, which is far more engaging than scrolling through news feeds on social media. So I think that social media has cheapened the interactions we have with our friends, which is why I didn't list this as a positive of social media. Although I think that for networking, that is different, and you should try to expand your network, connect with more people, which is why I listed networking as a positive for social media. I think one thing you'll notice is that I listed more positives for social media than negatives. I put 11 positives and only 3 negatives. And you may think that I think social media overall is good. But on the contrary, I do not think that. I think for the most part, social media has done more harm to more people than it has done good. So what do I mean by this? Let's look at the negatives of social media that I first listed. For all the negatives, all of those revolve around consumption. And when you think about it, that is what most people do with social media. They don't produce much. They don't use it much to network. They mostly use it to consume. And they mostly consume content that aren't usually educational or motivational or inspirational, which is why I think for the most part, social media has done more harm than good. But that does not have to be true for you. So with all the positives I listed, all of those can apply to you, and you can try to avoid the consumption of time-wasting content and toxic content. So with the positives I listed, only 3 of them revolved around consumption. And that's mostly consuming material that is educational, motivational, or inspirational. So I recommend you consume those kinds of content when you do consume on social media. The others I listed as positives for social media all revolve around networking and creating, and I think that's what you should be doing on social media. Use social media as a way to network with other people for business reasons or for personal reasons if there are interests you're passionate about. And also use social media as a creative outlet to create, to put out your work and ideas to the world and put it out there and show people what you are passionate about, so show people what you can create. And there are many potentials to make money from it. There are many potentials to help you build a personal brand, whether you want to advance your career or build your business. And it also helps you market yourself if you want to be an entrepreneur or business owner. It can be used to sell products or services if you are an entrepreneur. And also, if you want to make a change in the world, then get on social media and create content that advances what you want to see change in the world. Because nowadays we consume a lot of content on social media, and if you are a creator, you have the potential to change the world with the content you create. So I want to end with a discussion on what Steve Jobs talked about with the arrival of personal computers. So when personal computers were becoming more popular and Steve Jobs was pushing it out to the world, he talked about how as human beings we use tools to advance our potential and capabilities. With bicycles, for example, we use bicycles to get from one place to another a lot faster and with a lot less effort and energy than we would if we had to walk or run. And with computers, he wanted computers to be bicycles for our minds. He wanted us to use computers to advance our capabilities, advance our potential, and advance our human brain power. Because with computers, we can access so much more information, we can do so much more with the computational power of computers. And I think we can apply this to social media. So Steve Jobs wanted computers to be bicycles for our minds. Well, I want social media to also be bicycles for our minds. Instead of consuming mindlessly on social media, going through a lot of time-wasting content, a lot of toxic content, be a networker and creator as well. And when you do consume, try to consume stuff that are educational, motivational, or inspirational. I want people to think about social media as a way to advance your potential and capabilities. And with social media, we have so much access to so much more people that it can be used as a very effective networking tool. And because of the huge audience of social media, we can use it as a creative outlet, whether you want to create content to make more money, or to market yourself, or to market your business, or to make a change to the world. All of that is possible because of social media. And I think you should be taking advantage of this because of the potentials and capabilities that it gives you. So I have talked long enough, but I hope this video was a helpful one. Thank you for watching. I wrote an article about this on medium.com, so check it out. I'll link it in the description. Also follow me on Medium, where I write articles about the same topics I talk about on YouTube. I also make short videos on TikTok about the same topics I talk about on YouTube, so check it out and follow me on there. And if you want to connect with me, ask me any questions, then follow me on Instagram. Until next time.